we had the big game of the weekend.
Do you think she's listening?
I don't.
Probably not. She's
I don't.
busy healing things.
Well, she's traveling around the United States.
Healing.
Yeah, she has clients, and she goes and visits them, and
things happening.
Dog sits.
All right.
She's on Rover.
She is on Rover, I think.
Or WAG. One of the two.
Makes sense.
But hey, she was fun to talk to.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Sure. Probably interesting.
I mean, that'd be one word you could use
I get it.
to describe it.
Well, interesting certainly would, and we've all
Wasn't
met,
boring.
We've all met that person, and that person is more interesting to sit next to than, like, I don't know, Angry Bob or something.
Oh yeah, some guy who just sits and talks about himself.
Sure,
how great he
100%.
is. So we had the A&M LSU game. That was the best, or that was the top game of the weekend.
Yes, and let me say this: I have nothing against LSU, but watching Brian Kelly melt down, watching him lose it, and lose games that they have no business losing, it's the funniest thing in college football. There's not another guy in college football, and that's saying something because that sport is full of unlikable red asses. Watching the veins in that dude's neck bulge while they screw up basic plays like field goals, I put it right in my veins.
Well, Texas A&M was down 17-7 at half and stormed back to kick the crap out of them.
Yeah.
Well, the final was like, I think 38-23, but
Yeah.
A&M just kind of blitzed them because their quarterback got benched. They put in this kid, Marcel Reed.
Yeah.
And can't throw a lick.
No, but he can run.
But he ran for a couple scores, and now they've got kind of a quarterback issue there at A&M. You know what they could do, Buck, is they could go quarterback bullpen game.
Well, that's what
Hell yeah.
That's kind of what like Michigan does.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you just like, hey, passing downs, go to one, and
Yeah, Michigan has 3 now.
Well, he led the Reed kid led a double-digit comeback, and do you realize he completed 2 passes? He threw the ball 2 times. Now, it helps when they give you short fields every time, but that kid came in when they were down by double digits, 2 scores, went 2 of 2 for 70 yards, and they won that game comfortably going away 23-38. Damnedest thing, dude. That
gave him a spark.
That is, well, and Nussmeier just melted down with 3 picks, and then they had, again, the botched field goal where the guy wasn't ready. I mean, which, by the way, that's happened now multiple times for LSU. Did you see, have you seen the clip on the sidelines where he's yelling at the guy? He's like, effing get out there and get the process started.
Did you see also the slow-mo clip of like of the holder who like when it first hits him and his like face just sinks like, oh God, here we go again.
Here we go again. It's the second time. How can you not like pick your head up? Is it that hard to watch for the ball? I just love watching LSU melt down. It's fantastic.
Well, it's fun to watch because Brian Kelly is such an ass.
Yes.
And he's so negative.
Yes.
And just bitchy.
Yeah, he's just an
that you kind of
unlikable-
root against him.
Yes, and he's a really good coach, and LSU's a good football team, and they should have won that game. But they
I mean, what is
didn't,
it like
and
to
it was
play for?
hilarious.
Like, why would you go play for him?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I give
Hey,
you
he's a good coach.
And a lot of people have over the last decade,
Yeah.
and he's been like this for a while. I wonder the same thing when you're a kid who has your choice of any school, and you're going to get paid roughly the same most of the top places because of how good you are, like why that's the choice.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
interesting.
I mean, if you're an offensive play, I mean,
And it can be position coaches too. I know they have a lot to do with it.
yeah.
He must have a good pitch.
The other one too is, you know, I hate to say this, but how many coaches are they're just Brian Kelly? Like, I'm sure Brian Kelly in a recruit's living room is better than Brian Kelly on the sidelines, but I mean, you watch coaches losing on the sideline all the time. That's just the way it is. That's college coaching. But
but he's particularly
yes,
he's particularly negative. I mean, he'll even throw his guys under the bus in the press conferences.
yeah.
I
But I
mean-
always said that about Bob Knight. Why would anyone go play for Bob Knight? And yet people went and played for Bob Knight. So I have long asked that question, why anyone would go and do that, and yet there they are.
So A&M could be the new favorite in the SEC now.
They've got the best path forward to get in the playoff, but
Yeah, who are their next 4? I know they play Texas.
yeah, I'll pull
So
it up.
Texas beat Vanderbilt, and Quinn Ewers is back, looked pretty good, and so Texas should be 10-1
Yeah, so
when they go in to play A&M.
So they've got South Carolina, New Mexico State, Auburn, and then they play Texas. But even if they were to lose to Texas, they only have the one SEC loss, so they would still be sitting pretty good.
This is A&M you're talking
This is
about?
A&M.
So they have to play South Carolina
Uh-huh.
and Auburn.
Yeah, and Auburn, and then you get Texas.
Yeah.
So
So, well, I mean, so in other words, if they win those 3 games, They could even lose to Texas.
They
and
could lose
jump
to
in there?
Texas and still get in, depending, because like
Man.
obviously they wouldn't have played Georgia, so you still have some other things. But when you look at some of the other schedules that the SEC teams have to play, some funky things could happen.
Well, South Carolina could jump up and bite them for
Yeah,
sure.
you never know. I mean, South Carolina has played a bunch of teams tough. So, and look, Texas A&M with their quarterback issue, that's not a gimme in any stretch of the imagination. I mean, they're like anyone else. They're a flawed team. Like it just seems this year, when you look around the country, even with the quote the elite teams, you just every one of them has something you're like, does it? I mean, think about this. Texas is what? Where's Texas? Is what, 5 or 6 in the country, right? And we're number 1. And Ohio State is 3rd or 4th, and both of them have like serious offensive worries right now. And then throw A&M in there, which is now a top 10 team, and you've got 2 of those teams in Texas and Texas A&M that kind of have quarterback controversies. Oh, and by the way, let's throw Penn State in that mix, because Penn State now has a quarterback controversy. When was the last time you saw 3 top 10 teams, a couple of them undefeated, and there are serious issues at the idea that you may not have your starting quarterback be the guy going forward? And not because you have some sort of great backup that's like can't miss one in a generational prospect. It's just that you don't feel that the other guy can get you over the hump. I mean, this is kind of, it's a weird year.